Welcome to the Aether Chamber, podcast on the beginning after the end, or TBATE. Your hosts for this podcast are Pokey, Toby, Akin, and Makushio, full fans of TBATE. We will cover the various arcs of TBATE in chronological order, discussing the story's details in depth, as well as stating our views and opinions on the story, as well as pointing out differences between the novel and webcomic. The Beginning After the End is an epic fantasy story written by a turtle me. The novel is on Tapas, which is updated weekly. It is currently available in English. There is also a webcomic adaptation which can also be found on Tapas. 10 volumes of the novel have been published, available on Google Play Store, Amazon, or Audible. There are currently 2 volumes of the comic published and available for purchase, with volume 3 available for pre-order, plus volumes 4 to 6 become available from 2023 to 2024. The Beginning After the End follows the life of the late King Grey after his untimely and mysterious death. Reborn as Arthur Lewin, he seeks to correct his past mistakes in the vibrant new continent of Thakathan, a world of magic and fantastical creatures. For those of you who want to follow along with the comic, we're covering episode 16, Road Ahead, to the very end of episode 25, What's to Come. For the novel, chapter 10, Road Ahead, to the very end of chapter 14, What's to Come. Episode 2, The Cave and the Kingdom, Part 2.
Has like almost a mental breakdown about losing her.
Yeah.
So he just lays at the ground. And that's when we get our little first message left by her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, testing.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she's able to do that in that short amount of time. Just leave a little message on his core for him.
Yeah.
But like you said, like she doesn't tell him everything. Like which kind of interesting. Like which is good because like you don't want it. Like you as an author, you don't want to reveal everything that's going to happen in the story. So like, I mean, she could have, but it also kind of would ruin the story. Like all the build up to everything going on. Like it ruined the point of it. So
in a few points.
yeah.
Yeah, we were told everything at the same
But
point. Right there.
It really like take the luster out of the story.
Mm.
Volume 1, you know what happens in Volume 11.
Yeah, that'd be a big jump. That'd be a lot to take in. Too much.
Yeah. He spent like 5 volumes building up this whole thing. So
Yeah. I feel like they did a good job of letting it just run its course.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're now getting. But I do. It's interesting. Like when she leaves the message, she goes, "You're talking about how he's not strong enough to know the whole truth and stuff." And then she's once she reaches past the white stage of the core, he'll hear from her again.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
it's like there's a stage part, white.
Yeah.
So
It kind of shows that there's something beyond white core that can be reached.
Yeah.
That none of us know yet.
No.
Yeah. It's completely unknown in Thakathan. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then also she continues to, while he's like trying to digest that the stage past white, she also leaves him one last message telling him not to live this previous life.
For revenge. Don't live for hate. Live for your family.
Enjoy the innocence of childhood and joys. Don't try to seek out all the revenge and stuff. Yep. And then refers to him as King Grey, which really throws him through a loop.
yeah. That's a surprise. That means she could read all his memories.
Yeah. That's what really confirms it. I think he tries to figure out how she knew though. Like good questions like, did she discover something in Manicore? Was it memories? He's really confused about all that.
And then we get a little bit more information on how Arthur is right now. We learn that he's currently so that she gave him her unique will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at this point, we have no idea what the will means. Like what does it do exactly? That gets into later in his training. He figures out how to.
The novel calls it a beast will, but the comic just says unique will.
Yeah.
And then we get to him being lost in the middle of a forest.
Yep. The forest while he's just sitting there trying to figure out what to do.
Swinging through the trees.
Swinging through the trees like a monkey.
Like a monkey.
At least he knew where he's at. He's in the Elshire Forest.
The fog kind of tipped him off.
Oh yeah, but I'm surprised he's able to traverse and get around and figure out somewhat where he's at, or not get completely lost in the Elshire Forest. He clearly isn't near like the center of it, the most powerful portion of it.
Yeah, he was just kind of swinging around randomly. He didn't really have a place he was trying to go, so he can't really get lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't get lost if you're not knowing where you are in the first place.
Yep. I do like monkey
101.
Monkey Laywin, Monkey Arthur. Got the little smirk on his face, and then the next few panels you get the little scream, and you got his little nickuk. Fucking spins his head, give a little blur to it.
Really made fun of the whole monkey thing.
Yeah.
When you meet
You robot there.
and then we meet his next victims.
Yes. Piling up the count already.
Yep.
We should do a kill count at some point.
I mean, what he's at one so far.
Yeah, he's at one so far.
All right.
And these poor unsuspecting slave traders.
Yep. We find there's some animals leading them that look like wolves combined with elk called forest hounds. Apparently, he recognized them from his encyclopedia.
Yeah, the Encyclopedia of Man Manipulation. Oh wait, wrong one.
No.
Encyclopedia of the Caffin.
It's just wolves with antlers on their head. All it is.
And see that there's 4 people with them.
Yeah. 4 and one little girl they kidnapped, one little elf girl.
Yep.
He begins to follow them.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure out what to do if he wants to kill them or just take the hounds and try to have one lead them out. He has like this internal struggle what to do. Is it his concern or is it his problem?
The 3 plans he came up with and which one would be better.
Yeah.
He seems a lot more cold in the novel. He's willing to leave the elf girl, let her get sold into slavery, hoping maybe she'll find someone good. But knows that's not the case.
Yeah. Well, in the comic he doesn't even come up with the 3 options. He just pretty much follows them.
Yeah.
You went robot there.
Still a robot.
Full robot mode.
How about now?
Much better.
All right. I'm not.
I think it's the longer he talks, the more he becomes a robot.
Yeah. How about now? We're fine. Then he begins to explain robot.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's.
So we learn the names of them.
What I think, you get what?
Yeah.
What are the names? You get Pinky, Deuce.
Pinky and Deuce are like the first one we found out.
Deuce. And then the other 2 are Danton.
What was the name of the last one? You robot.
Robot's kind of falling out. It's an AI.
Yeah.
The AI's taking him over.
I think Kat would be happy to find that out.
His name's George.
George. The one simple name out of all of them.
Yep.
Wow. Deuce, Pinky, George. Jesus Christ. Went full on robot.
Secretly, Elon Musk is behind this creation.
Nah, Elon Musk would have made one that was able to talk properly.
The comic's pretty violent about this, how he goes about killing them. So is the novel, of course.
Slits the throats.
He just instantly goes for Pinky and Deuce.
I mean, that makes sense. It's the two ones on guard. And if Tessia hadn't alerted the other two that were sleeping, it would have gone perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
But something pretty interesting happens here. There's two things. When he's going to kill Pinky and Deuce, he uses a technique just from his hand in mana.
Yeah,
Making a win technique.
Yeah, looks kind of like Zamasu.
Oh yeah, he covers his hand in mana and he slits Pinky's throat with it.
The novel goes into a little bit more detail. Says that
Yeah, it went into much more details about what he did. The swordless art from his previous world, yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting. I don't think we ever see that move ever again, do we?
No. The closest thing we ever see is when he makes blades of wind, but he still has a sword.
Yep.
But the swordless art he doesn't use again.
I feel like it'd be a pretty useful thing to use. I mean, like, it's just the manipulation of pure mana. Oh, I don't think he can manipulate pure mana anymore once he gets all. Or he can.
Well, from what I've gathered and what I've asked Turtle Me, and he basically confirmed, is that originally he had no attributes. And then because he was able to use the knowledge from his previous world to form elements, he gained the affinities.
Not really.
What he used there. Yeah, that's what he said.
What he said is that because of his previous life's knowledge, he bypassed attributes. So we don't know what he would have originally been.
That's true, but then we have Ellie, and if he had taught her at an early age, she also could have become a quarter elemental.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He makes a string of pure mana to try to do the same knife trick he did with the guy on the knife.
Yeah, but
the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one guy that gives him just a trouble.
Yeah.
And this is where he learns to figure out to condense the mana and see like, oh, like I can manipulate the attributes, makes the mana explode. And then it comes out. Yeah, he clearly doesn't come out unscathed on his own. Like it clearly did some damage to himself. Like his clothes are pretty much blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
And then he brutally fucking just throws the knife through his neck like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And then goes to the guy just lying on the ground, asking him not to kill him.
It's really brutal.
Yeah.
He just does it and then
Come again?
I think it's a mature rating on that episode.
Yeah,
that's the first episode with mature. Not the one with the mangled corpse, but the one where he brutally murders 4 people.
So his kill count is now at 5.
At 5, and he's just gonna go up.
Yeah, it's gonna increase
Toby,
by a lot.
do you think that you can put it in the corner of the video?
Sure, I can do that.
We'll talk about everyone he kills. Dissect how brutal they were.
We'll just like add a counter each time. Just copy cinema sins. Do we count his previous life?
No, not yet. No.
Do we count indirect kills or only direct kills? Do we count
kills?
Direct? Okay, because otherwise we're gonna have a high kill count.
Isn't it gonna be high either way?
I don't know. Sounds like
He did kind of destroy country.
if we're talking about, we get to that in a little bit, but
Yeah.
we also get the confirmation here from Arthur in the novel that whenever your core like increases level, its size doesn't change. It's just the density of mana you can store in it.
It's a very rapid change. You just put the two pictures in here. You get a rapid change from his brutality to him being all happy smiley with rescuing our little elf girl. Him trying to be all nice about it.
And then
That image
what?
Yeah, that's
switches from like that dark image when he killed George.
a
Whatever
very
his name was. To
pleasant smile.
happy.
We can kind of gloss over the fact.
And then
What are you gonna say?
I'll say that in the next episode, he blindfolds her.
Oh, yeah.
Leaves her white. Doesn't see this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leads her from the court, the mess of the crime of the scene of the crime. Doesn't want to show her. I mean, that traumatized her like crazy, probably.
Yeah. It would probably have been worse if she saw the mangled corpses.
Honestly, we could, because like the big part here is like he kills the traders, the slave traders, saves the little elf girl, leads her away blindfolded, not wanting to traumatize her with the scene of the crime, because I mean that is like very fucking brutal, and a normal child like that age would not be able to handle that unless they have the
No.
mentality of a 38-year-old like him.
I think, to be honest, Tessia might have been able to see that and not care that much.
Oh no, the robot left.
I doubt
Oh, he's
she'd
back.
be able to handle that. She would probably have freaked out from seeing all the corpses. Like, there's no shot.
So.
We can like the next, I think, the next like episode on or next chapter for comic, or next few is just them traveling through the woods. It's not really, there's nothing much big introduced in there
No.
besides who she is. It just gives her a name and they just kind of like bond over the time while traveling through.
But there's one big difference from comic to novel that I really like.
What's the
Comic. I don't think the novel brings those up.
Brings what up? You turned into a robot.
The pains from his.
Oh, they are there in the novel and comic. I think they aren't as much in. They're more visual in the novel, and in the comic it's a bit hidden. I think.
what is the
Like his pains from the Manticore, it isn't brought up as much in the novel.
no
as in
yeah
the comic.
the
Yeah.
comic he has them more while they're traveling later on, and it rapidly increases too. Like it makes it a big deal because of course it is a big deal. He needs to get that fixed, and he does, of course. But
Yeah.
they really
So this chapter scene in the comic
Mhm.
is where half of the
Yeah. It's a lot of testimonies.
oh yeah, from her being terrified of the night and stuff. I do love my favorite scene probably in this chapter is this one is when he's when he's about to kill a rabbit for food and she has a breakdown about it. Probably my favorite moment.
he still kills and cooks it.
Yeah. It's a cute little chapter as they travel. They get to bond and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get to 19 where they're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how it's funny throughout the entire trick. She doesn't tell him exactly who she is. And it's funny. Either you think with the reading the encyclopedia on Decathlon, he'd realize from her last name who she is, but it never clicks for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't sort of know.
I'm sorry, what?
He thinks that Tess might be a noble or something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they do kind of look noble. But elves' clothes also usually typically have like a little more, even if they're lower end, they kind of have a graceful or upper class look to
Yeah.
them. They're very silky and character. I don't know. What's the words I'm thinking of? Elegant look to them. While humans, you can
Yeah.
definitely tell who is of lower class and who isn't. All the flashiness. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it might be a little different in TBATE. The elves might be a little more distinguishable. You can tell who's got better clothes, who doesn't.
Mm-hmm. And then getting to closer to the end of this chapter in both the novel and the comic, we learn a few things. One, that she's 1 year older than Art. And then we get to a few traits that she recognizes somehow.
Yeah, it's the comic shows it with the little symbols on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I guess it's like a marker saying leading them around. Might
Yep.
be her own markings or just
In the novel, it has one. She gets this. But she just kind of goes to it, puts her hand.
Mm.
and it opens, so it just kind of reveals.
Yeah, it's much. It's
Yep.
they removed the
Reveals
chains.
that. Yep.
Into the
Yeah.
next episode.
Yeah.
Where he meets.
Mm,
He's introduced to the Elven Kingdom.
Arthur shows that he has a dislike for teleportation because
Yeah, because
it
it's
kind of
what
makes him nauseous.
yeah,
And then we get to meet Caterpillar Art.
yeah the city's well drawn out. Oh, it's not drawn. I don't know how like in the comic if it's like they pulled a lot of like pieces for like an image to do this, but it looks really good. Shows like the grand view of it all the trees and everything, which you would expect from an elven city in a forest, of course.
Mm. And then while Arthur kind of expects the
the
city,
only difference that I really noticed is that
I said while Arthur then is inspecting the city, the guards show up.
Yeah,
yep, and the novel there's floating lighting.
Yeah, there aren't really any floating light artifacts in the city in the
Yeah.
comic.
they don't show that.
Yep.
And then of course he gets the culture shock when they refer to her as the royal princess.
Yeah, it's like, wait, who, where?
Like it's quite it's a little different too. The comic, the guards are addressing her, and then she kind of like changes her tone. She tells them you can rise and stuff.
Yeah,
I like how they in the comic they give Alduin and Mariel a very like just like their titles, and then you get Virion and gets a full on fucking description box.
I mean, yeah, he's a big dude.
I mean, he deserves it. He's
an
awesome.
important dude.
Viren
He
is
won a
awesome.
war.
At least they have the common courtesy to they acknowledge that Arthur's there, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then Tess Tess gives him a little shock when she goes up and grabs him, wanting to show him
Mhm.
around and stuff.
shocks
Yeah.
everyone.
I love how though he's still dressed. He's got you got the bandages still wrapped around his leg. Got the pant leg still torn, wearing the oversized shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While
Yep.
he gets this tour around or gets brought into the castle. Even he doesn't. Even then, they ask if they want to say clean him up and get him a room, and he doesn't want to do that. He wants to immediately go into explaining what happened.
Yeah. And that looks like
Yeah.
in the traditional castle view, I think, but just tree is part of it.
Yeah,
Where in the comic novel, it's described as being only a tree,
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
basically just
Yeah,
a
like a
tree.
big petrified tree.
That's the big difference that's shown between the two.
yeah. As I noticed too. Like, yeah, I thought, but it still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But-
of course.
just bringing up that small difference.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it's and then got our little discussion between them. Quick change from Arthur's attitude to very respectful, very mature for a 4-year-old.
He did
Which-
that on
Yep.
purpose to not make them treat him like a child.
Yeah, which shocks them all because like they didn't expect that, and then if they have the King Alduin lashes out slave traders about the slave trader comment and should have known it was humans, and then Arthur keeps it very calm and professional, like a businessman. Slave trading is a
Yeah.
profession, not a race.
Yeah, it's actually a different quote in the novel.
Shuts down his racism.
Yeah, and then I like how it goes over to Virion. He thinks he
Stopping the
tries to,
swords.
yeah, he's kind of interrogating him, but not like diggishly, just kind of like glaring him down. Arthur still remains very composed about it. And he just casually mentions, "Oh, while I'm a child, I am also a mage," and it sets
Yeah,
off one
and-
of the guards.
The guard tries to go after him, and Virion just stops the guard with a single look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it shows how much power he holds.
your power and respect.
Yeah,
Mhm. A lot of it.
definitely.
And of course, Virion's like the only one that believes him somewhat of this. The rest of them are all like just don't believe he's like he found a way to like trick him or something.
Yeah.
And then he mentions he wants to return home, and Tess doesn't like that.
Mm.
Yeah. Kind of they don't know he's a mage. Because they should be able to sense his core,
Yeah, they
right?
should.
It's dark red. Pretty much anybody above that level should be able to sense it.
Yeah.
Normally, yes. I think maybe it has something to do with the feather as well.
Probably, but also the fact that they probably could since he's a mage, but they also just couldn't like they probably don't believe he was still able to take out 4 grown adults even as a mage. Somewhat, they believe he wouldn't be as competent as he comes off,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
Art does kind of lie about it. Says 2 were sleeping, the other 2 were off guard.
Yeah,
But
I mean, it was mostly true, I guess.
half
2
truth,
were
half lie.
originally sleeping, and that the other 2 were off guard.
I would say 3 were off guard. 1 was not either.
That's true.
Yeah, well, they offered to escort him back, anyways,
Mm.
and so he goes to shower up and stuff.
They bring up the summit between the races that happens every 7
I
years.
have to wait 5 years if he was to stay
That-
to take the portal back.
Yep.
A long time to stay in a kingdom.
Yeah. We also learned why Tess was running
Oh, yeah.
away, being
Have a
out
little
there.
tantrum. Just like any
Yep.
royal princess.
Seems like that might be a common thing, but
Well, it's a common thing from amongst
because they said run off to her usual spot.
her usual spot. But it's also like it's a common trope amongst like royalty. When they meet some commoner like this, just randomly going out in a tantrum, running off.
Yeah.
Yep. We also get the Tess Tee emoji this
Oh, yeah.
chapter.
And then we also get the one where she's like revving up to headbutt him when he opens the door.
Yeah, the says pouts emoji.
The one that they use for the welcome sticker and all.
Yeah, that as well.
Looks like she's trying to squeeze out of crap, but we're revving up to headbutt him, take out the wind of him.
That dude does look like it hurt a little.
Oh, I assume it would. She got him right in the gut, and he's already having
Yeah.
pains in his manicore.
Yeah, and it's said later on that getting hit in the manicore feels like getting hit in the nuts. So
Yeah.
kind of painful.
And here, in the comic, he has pains while in the shower.
Oh.
But in the novel, he doesn't mention any pains here.
Yeah, the pains.
Just kind of going more along with what I was saying earlier.
The pains. It's a good little like foreboding. Like the pains like means something. That's just not like.
Yeah.
Because like you're curious, like, well, it gives you another thing to think about. Because like, I mean, this isn't the most interesting set of events. Like him explaining what was already happened and stuff. So like the pains are like the main thing everyone's like focused on. Like, what are they? Why does he have these pains? But my first time reading through, I was like, oh, what is all this about?
Mm.
I do
Yep.
like though. We also I don't know, is it the next chapter? No, the same
What?
chapter. We also get a little bout between Virion and Arthur
Yeah.
while Tess is giving him
Yeah.
a tour of the kingdom. Yeah, a little rubber knife.
Mm.
Rubber thing. Yeah. Arthur turns around, right on guard. Then sees Virion.
This old man has lost a screw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love the Fuuki does a great job of like the little facial expressions of the characters. Like they're the when they're comedic scenes, they're great.
Says that his instincts are good, but his usage
Mana
of
and-
mana was mediocre.
Yeah.
but I didn't bring this up earlier. It's a nice little tidbit to add that even though Tess is taller than him, which is typically a case as a young age growing up, girls typically grow a little taller than boys for most of the part at a young age. Then when they hit their teenage years, the boys sprout up and gets taller.
Yeah.
And even for an elf, Tess keeps pretty close to his height, even when he gets taller. So this is which is a pretty good accuracy.
Yeah.
Art never seemed like that big of a guy, to be honest. Or is that just me?
I mean,
He doesn't start out big; he gets bigger later on.
yeah.
I mean,
The only time we really get a measure of his height is after he starts as an adventurer. We get told he's 1.8 meters, I think.
yeah. I mean, well, also the picture I have of me standing next to the poster board, I asked Turtle, like, is that an accurate like life size depiction of him? Like, yeah, that is. He's so at that point in the story, he's around 5'10", 5'11", which is tall as hell for someone his age. So,
I mean, that's about my height.
yeah, but
And for anyone who doesn't know feet and inches, 5'11" is 180 centimeters.
Yeah. And I'm 6'1", so Arthur's pretty tall for a young teen and later in the story.
Yeah.
But that's all due to his like training he goes through. His body develops a lot quicker.
I mean, he's around the same height as I was at that time.
I was a short little kid until
Actually not that time. Probably a bit older.
I didn't hit five.
I actually heard that training getting a lot of muscles and all can actually stunt your growth if you do it young.
Imagine if he hadn't trained, then he'd be a giant.
That's if you're like getting mass amounts of muscle mass, because then like they're kind of limiting the growth. But if you're doing it mediocre, like he was more focusing like just leaning out his body, getting used to his body. He wasn't like trying to build mass amounts, so he grew properly. But yeah,
We get to see Virion in some sort of battle armor,
Yeah.
which looks really cool.
which we don't usually see, because he's usually just wearing robes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came prepared to fight Art. Like he was already knew he was going to test him.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he wears those under the robes at all times. That would be interesting.
Maybe because we never really see him taking the robes off ever.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Was like how do you think Villian was actually going full out, or just
No, I think if he
No.
was
No.
going full
Well,
out, he'd
No.
have used his second phase.
Yeah, true.
And he himself that he only 50% there, and he was completely.
Yeah.
Even then, I don't know if 50% would be accurate there. He probably wasn't even that much.
No.
Yeah. But he's a silver core mage,
'Cause,
so
I mean, that's 50%.
mm,
Imagine if he was going 100% plus his second phase.
yeah. A silver core
But-
mage should easily be able to overpower Aether, even if
Oh yeah.
he hasn't even trained
Yep.
properly yet. He's only dark red. So
No. The
He was
only thing
definitely
Arthur has
holding
is being
back.
able to. Yeah, he's holding back. But also, Arthur just has the upper hand. He has no idea what Arthur is capable of, which really throws everyone off when the fact that this little 3-year-old, 4-year-old knows how to use a sword properly and it's proper technique almost.
Yeah. He was able to land one scratch on Virian's forehead, and that was just because of his instincts.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the little
Which is
bandages.
still
But
kind of impressive.
yep, the heart band-aid.
Yeah. A nice addition.
Via Tessia's personal
I
first
agree.
aid kit.
Yeah, and we see it almost begin to fall off. Like it's falling off.
And then right after this,
Yeah.
pretty much sends Tess inside because she's
Like falling asleep.
Mhm.
beast wills. I think we should probably explain the beast wills and all.
Yeah, we should go into depth of that later.
Yeah. They were saying in the comic and novel, anything above A core can give a unique beast will,
Yeah.
and that the people who receive these wills are called beast tamers.
Yeah. And since Arthur's is such a powerful amount of beast core or beast will, that if he doesn't get it under
Yeah.
control, he'll burn him out from the inside out.
He'll blow up.
Yeah. Implode.
Yeah. We get a neat little visual in the comic of like Sylvia breaking and fading away
With artists.
as he says this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would have been a quick end to the story, unfortunately.
Yeah. If he just did what he was thinking at first, they just did what he was thinking at first, running away,
Yeah.
then he wouldn't.
He would have made it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one would have known like how he would not have known for a while like what the hell is going on with my body. Maybe it's just
Even if he got to his family, which would have taken months,
they wouldn't have been able to train him properly for it.
none of them. They wouldn't even know what's going on to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's having the heavy burdens pressed down amongst him as he's sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's this pressing on him? My burdens?
The sad.
I don't know. Like I think I love that they keep this as a running joke throughout the comic and the story that this is how people wake him up because he's such a heavy sleeper.
Yeah.
Not now, Shadow Monster.
Who are you calling a monster?
Then he realizes it's not a shadow monster, it's just Medusa.
Yeah.
Call it a monster. You're one to talk, Mini Medusa.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Alduin wants Art to leave, and Virian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really deny the former king's orders, especially when he still holds so much power and influence.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really deny your dad anything, whether he's a king or not.
I mean, it's also his first disciple. Like, why not allow him that?
True.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
There's one other person I could ever be his disciple. But
Fairif.
I'll save that for a few chapters.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I do.
No comment.
It's a very. It sticks with the tropes of stories. Like, you get the old retired master or old retired warrior being the master or teacher or mentor of the protagonist.
Yeah.
Which is funny
Mhm.
because like most time these old guys like don't really like look it. Virion though, you can definitely tell he looks the part. He looks like he was a former warrior. He's kind of built and stuff as we saw in the last chapter.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about.
Also in the novel, while he's explaining beast wills and all, he goes and explains the deviants for elements as well.
Yeah, that's
which the
explained later.
comic it saves to
Yeah.
later. They show that water can go to ice, earth to gravity, fire to lightning, wind to sound. Elves have the unique one of plants,
Yeah.
and dwarves have earth, the one for earth of magma and metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then later on they kind of changed it a bit, making it so water and earth for elves was changed to nature magic, while they still kept sound. And
Yeah.
the same was done with dwarves by giving them gravity for earth, and then fire is magma. So kind of
Yeah, the combination
balanced
of
it
earth.
out.
And,
Yeah.
And then metal
Yeah,
bending,
no.
as they call it, or whatever.
That's not related to a specific element, but we
No.
believe it's earth.
Yeah.
And then Virion says his show character he's an AA class,
Yeah. No, isn't it A class just?
and
Um,
it said AA
oh.
in the novel.
Hmm.
And whenever they're talking to Alduin, Alduin wanting him to leave Virion, that say, Tess is actually a little bit more reluctant in the novel to say that she wants to stay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad of the changes that the comic made early on.
Yeah. It's a good amount of changes, but it's not like too much where it's like completely different story either.
No.
Yeah.
It's changed just enough to
I feel
be
like it
better,
fit pretty well.
and then it's still changed to be different and the
Yeah.
same story.
Yeah. They take a small carriage. Virion, Tess, and Arthur.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our favorite diviner.
Yep.
Fucking Virion, crazy ass going up and kicking on the door. Definitely tell
Yeah.
like they're good old buds.
Yeah, but it isn't revealed until much later what their relationship is.
No, yeah, not till later.
They explain that she is a diviner, which is a different category. It's kind of like his mom being an emitter.
Yeah.
And she explains that there's part of his life that even she can't see.
Yeah. Which is an interesting little tidbit that they add in there. Like she can see parts of his past and present and future, or past and future. Which
Yeah.
I like how
Which is, it is retconned a little later.
yeah.
Mm.
No, robot Poki's back.
Yay.
Renia allows him to talk to his parents, gives her the
Yeah.
little spiel, vision his parents, look in the water. Her eyes
Yeah.
light up and stuff. She connects that stuff, which is still a very
Yeah.
interesting ability, besides like being able to see the past and future
Yeah.
with
It's
her diviner
interesting
abilities.
Yeah, and an interesting thing is that in the novel, we see him seeing them and then recording a message, but in the comic we don't see him recording the message. We go straight to the other side, which
Yeah,
is
just him talking to them.
Yeah.
that's kind of interesting.
Oh, also, like while she's charging up her mana and all, as we transition to the message and parents and all, there's purple particles
Yeah.
I
Little
think we know what
hint,
purple particles means, but we'll save
definitely.
that for later.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, I had like the theory about her actual powers as a diviner are different than her ability to see the future, which we can kind of see that her
Yeah.
hands are glowing green, which could be a nod that her powers as diviner are nature magic, which works differently.
Maybe.
But you're right; it could just be all the time with the purple particles.
The purple particles is what I focused on the most when reading that part. Until we get to the next chapter.
Yeah, it has like a dark tone.
Yeah. And it's physically darker too.
Yeah,
like whenever we see Alice and Ray, their hair's darker.
Yeah.
Alice has like brown hair, dark brown.
Yeah, and like the images are
instead of her
desaturated.
usual. Yeah. And then goes over like what happens in the aftermath. We see that Alice tried to
Kill herself.
Yeah. Isn't
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. It goes in the novel. It goes through as a POV of Reynolds. Like it's a whole chapter of it.
Yeah, and in the comic, it's
Yeah.
just like a flashback we see while he's explaining.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that made it into the comic. That's
Her suicide scene attempt.
really dark. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
try not to avoid it. It's like a kind of realistic reaction from a parent or like her, especially like just it's the I don't know how to explain it.
And in the later part of the message, we see like as they're going to their new place, there's a young girl
Yeah.
in this place. The father has to like a uniform.
Robot.
And then after the message happens, all the colors,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
their hair is back to normal. Yeah. I really like that detail.
There's also what seems to be a layering issue I just discovered. Look at the chair in the
What were you
look
saying,
at the
Toby?
chair in the top left of the image I just sent.
The images for me.
Oh,
that's not a chair. That's a crib.
yeah. Oh, it still looks
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, I mean, they're putting it together. It looks like.
Oh, he's bad at construction stuff. Then it looks broken.
I mean, it probably it looks like it also should be grayed out like the rest of the photo.
Yeah.
That doll looks creepy as hell.
Oh, that's the. Oh shit, that's the doll. I thought that was her herself. I didn't realize that was a doll.
Yeah, I
I
had to
wondered,
double
like,
check.
why is there two people? Why is there two heads in that picture? And then I noticed it's a fucking doll. Oh shit!
Yeah.
That's that's
Then after signing the message, decides that he's going to go with Arian.
yeah. They head back,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then the
And then in the novel, Renia states that his beast will is above SS.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
just
curious
like
what it
limiting
is.
Yeah, it's just like limiting it to an SS class would be an offense to it.
Yeah. And once he returns back from Renia's place, leaving the message, Alduin apologizes to him in the comic. Just
Yeah.
states, President King original. That there's no
Yeah.
And then Tess says if you're really sorry, let me take him around. Let us play outside in the city. So she wants to take him on a tour or a little of their first date.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a small difference from another
Yeah.
for training for a while.
Yeah.
Sits for a few weeks or something, and then they decide to go. But it's immediate.
Yeah. This is where we get introduced to.
Another good detail in the comic is while they're going around, Virion with a mustache and glasses is following them around.
Oh, yeah. Keep
Yeah,
an
it's
eye
a
on him.
great detail that took a while to get discovered. It's such a great scene. Just, It's like when
Never
you see it,
noticed
you
that.
can't unsee
Yep.
it. That's the problem.
No. Yeah.
He is, I'm sure, it's a
Oh yeah.
because every hand has him in.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
imagine
all
how funny it's gonna be in the anime.
It's like, where's Waldo? Where's Virion?
That's gonna be a great game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then, as they're going around, just, you know, Arthur really took the legend himself.
Yep, the legend Ivysaur.
it's the favorite if so
Favorite?
the third.
The third.
Hey,
And, yeah. Turns out he's a Pokemon.
Yep. I love how
Yes,
they
the
sneaks that in.
Ivysaur.
Yeah.
It's the favorite Ivysaur.
Ivysaur.
Yes.
So, favorite is 5, right?
Yeah.
Just a little older than Tess.
Uh-huh.
He's dark red core. That's, Arthur's the earliest to ever awaken. And whenever Tess awoke at 9 and all, they were saying that's really, really early. Like, very, very early. And then favorites over here at 5 already at dark red.
Yeah. He's the favorite Ivysaur. What did you expect?
Yep.
The
The
legend.
legend. And then, like, I love the little duel they have. Not even a duel, just Arthur comes up, just whacks him.
Just
One
Arthur
sight-
bullying the weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saitama's him. One punch.
And the novel, like duels between elven nobles and all, you're supposed to just show off your magic. But Arthur just ran up and punched him.
Yeah, because he's unaware. Truly a
Yep.
human in that sense.
Oh my god! I found an Virion we haven't.
Which one did you find?
Look,
Where's this one at?
it's while they're in the library.
He's just standing. Oh, he's standing at the counter.
Yeah. Look, it's there's a lot. Oh wait, there's another one.
Really
What's not really explained?
duels, the elven duels.
Yeah, that's what I'm still curious about. Like, how are duels? Are they different for the 3 races? Like they perform? Like, does each one have a different way of doing them? Because like in Xyrus, the duel was like not. It wasn't showing magic. It was about who could damage the other one the most before their protective spell activated in their uniform, seizing the duel. So I'm saying like the humans kind of like an actual duel is like a fight to fight, like magic power against magic power. I feel like of the elves, of course, just like a little more elegant, showing your spells, your magic, seeing what looks more elegant, who has better, finer control over their mana. I'm curious what dwarves would be.
Yeah. And now we're at the end of season 1 of the comic.
Yep, we'll finish the tour.
Yeah.
We end the
Would
comic.
that be a good place to end this episode?
Yeah.
You have reached the end of episode 2, The Cave and the Kingdom, part 2, a podcast brought to you by the Aether Chamber, with your hosts Pokey, Toby, Akin, and Makushio, 4 fans of TBATE. We would like to give our thanks to TurtleMe, Vyuka23, Tapas, and Yanpress for working together to bring us TBATE in all its forms. Links to their socials will be located in the description. The novel is on Tapas, which is updated weekly. It is currently available in English. There is also a webcomic adaptation which can also be found on Tapas. 10 volumes of the novel have been published, available on Google Play Store, Amazon, or Audible. Thank you for listening. Links to our socials will be located in the description to keep you updated with our releases of future episodes and other content. Please like and subscribe.